My name is Adriana Bertrán, and I coordinate the Citizen Security Program at the Washington Office on Latin America. I mainly focus on how to promote alternative policies to reduce violence and strengthen the rule of law in the Americas, with a particular focus right now on Central America, given the high levels of violence in the region. About 2 years ago, we saw a very high wave of unaccompanied children arriving at the southern border of the U.S. Many of them coming from what is known as the Northern Triangle of Central America: Guatemala, Honduras, and El Salvador. One of the main factors is due to the high levels of violence. 2013, Honduras was categorized as the most violent country in the world not at war. Last year, El Salvador took that first spot with a murder rate of 104 per 100,000. Many of the communities from where these children are coming from are dominated by one gang or another, the most common being 18th Street and MS-13. These are gangs that control essentially every aspect of life. Tied to this is the fact that you have countries that have extremely weak institutions. You have police forces that are still extremely weak, that suffer from high levels of corruption, some of which have been infiltrated even by organized crime. And you have overall a judicial system that is unable to respond to the needs of its citizens. So you have, among the three countries, an impunity rate of 96%. That means that only 4% of murders in a region that has one of the most homicides in the world, only 4% of cases that end up receiving a firm conviction. These are communities where children and youth have very little opportunity. Many of them, don't have the ability or the opportunity to go to school, to find a job. Your alternative is either to engage in criminal activity or to seek refuge and safety somewhere else. The focus of most of the debate, on the one hand, has tended to focus on the need to secure the border. How do you build a much higher wall, preventing anybody from coming in, without really asking the question again as to why are people coming, and the fact that many of these kids do have a legitimate claim. If they're fleeing violence and their life is under threat, it is our international duty to ensure that they receive the protection that they need. Some of the debate, particularly some of the Democratic candidates, have said that they would stop these type of deportations and look at addressing the needs of families or kids that may have a rightful claim of fleeing violence. But overall, there's been, to me, just a very little discussion of understanding the conditions in Central America and why it's important as a neighbor in the hemisphere, given the different ties, not just geographically, but cultural, family ties that bind us with Central America, and why the U.S. Should provide assistance to these countries, help these countries build much safer communities. So I invite the viewers to visit our website at www.wola.org to get more information and find out how you can support our efforts as well and get involved.